Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Solar Shed. It's just a lazy Saturday here and there is no solar. I'm very disappointed in today because yesterday I spent a lot of time hooking up a bunch of new panels. And I mean a bunch. So I had a string sitting right outside the solar shed here of 8 panels, as you all know. And they were just laying on the ground. Well, yesterday, you know what's better than telling you about them is showing you. So I'm going to open the door here to the shed and kind of give you an idea of what it is. I think I need this camera here to do it. Let me just get this camera arranged here. See if I can do this the way I want to do this. This ought to be fun. So I'm going to take this camera here and I'm going to point it out here into open this door. All right, guys. So here is what I hooked up yesterday. And as you can see, wow, that has got a lot of glare in it. A lot of glare out here today. I got most of the shed done with the exception of that one little piece way down there. But I added 16 new panels here. And they are, ooh, that wind is picking up. They are were rocking it yesterday during the sun. And I combined them with these 8 here. So it's 8 in series, 3 in parallel on that string. And it's about, theoretically, if you look at it from the standpoint of total solar power, it's about 6,000 watts. Now, those panels are derated a little bit. Boy, that thing sure is bright, isn't it? I like that. I like this other view better, I think. But either way, it never fails when you install that many solar panels. That's when all of a sudden you have the problem of there's no sun. And I had zero, well, I wouldn't say zero. I say zero. Let me just pull up what we have on the stats for today because I haven't really looked at it close. I keep expecting the bit miner to turn on next to me, and it hasn't yet because it only turns on when it has enough power to turn on. So let me just see if I can do screen share here. There you guys go. And let's see if we can, let's see. Wow. Screen share. Where is my screen share? There it is. I'm missing the camera view. Would have just thought that, oh, there it is. Okay, let me just add that to our, there we go. Okay, so that one should at least let you see me. And this is really the wrong size. I played with this the other night to make a video and it really messed with it. Won't do it again like that because it really messed with it. There we go. We'll make that a little bit bigger. Okay, now that should make it better for you guys. All right, so we do have some solar coming in. Now I created this new little view here, as you can see on the very far right. I got these new view of all of the different temperature probes that I've got going on. So it's not cold yet. It's still in the 60s here, so that's really nice. I'm thankful for that, but it is supposed to be dropping here in the next couple of hours and get down into 20 degrees by morning. Yikes. We're in Florida. We're not prepared for this. This is going to be really bad for a lot of people around here. So we'll see how that goes. Now let's talk PV. So you see PV power sources. I've also got a new detailed PV power sources here. And you can see all day long I've brought in 2.77 kilowatt hours off of the 6000 XP. But you can see that new string is bringing in 625 watts, which from all of the PV running, from the coffee trailer, 110, the solar test system over there has only got 45. The actual shed, Victron Smart Shunt, or Victron 250-100 behind me has only got 89. It's lousy considering, you know, half the time we can get 20 kilowatt hours out of this thing now. And I would suspect with that out there, that's going to go up significantly here in the next day or two. So, but as you can see, it's a bad day. So what are we going to do instead? Well, let me tell you what we're going to do instead. So what we're going to do instead is we are going to look at hooking up the EG4 inverter. Now, I'm not looking to do a major hookup with it, but I am looking to do some variation of a hookup here. So let me show you what I got in mind. I've got this power box that I used to have on a test system. And so I want to see if possible, I'm going to run this power box here so that we can use this for testing 48 volt systems. That's what it's really good for. So I'll be able to run this for that. Now the question is can I run, do I need to run conduit, or how am I going to have to run this? Before I had it just ran with these wires because it was truly just a test system. And these are 12 gauge wire, which is nice. But I need to find out if this is going to work with some conduit that I've got. If not, then what I'll probably do, and I got that same question on both. Oh, you know what? Look at that. These come out. Let's just see if this is the same size as the conduit that we have. I'm going to reach behind the camera here and grab a piece of this conduit that I've got. Hopefully one of the smaller pieces. And let's just see if this is the right size to do this. Actually, it might be. That's actually a really good sign. So we might actually be able to just use this conduit and run a piece of conduit down, around, and into that. So let's see if we've got some. I'm gonna take you with me on my phone. Let's see if I can use my phone today. Let's try it. Let's see. Feed phone, that one. Oh, look at that, that worked. Okay, so I'm gonna take you over here to my work mess. We've got some, those are not the right size. These are the right size, but they are not for conduit. So we need the conduit ones. Here we are, here we are. So we're gonna need a couple of these because we want one to go in. Let's just come over here and see if we get one in the switch this camera back here. Get one in the what am I trying to say? One here in the EG3. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Perfect fit there. Okay. And then I think I've even got a 90 degree that I could use. All right, so that's good. And then we're going to need another one to go into this down here. Now, this might get a little squirrely on this. Can you guys see? I'm going to point this camera down a little bit more here. A little bit more than that. All right, so here I'm thinking about this. Oh, you know what? That may just fit natively. Let's just try it and see. I don't think this wire is long enough, but I'm trying to save it just in case. Let's just put this conduit down here, and we're just going to run this conduit down in the. Now, if this fits in there, we are in business, and it does not. Let's see if we can replace that with this, maybe. Sure looks close, but I think it's one size smaller. I think that's 3/4 inch, and this looks like it might be 1/2 inch. But that's okay. We're gonna take a we're going to take, let's take a look at this real quick. Let's see if we can open this up. And I left the screws in here so that I could do that. But if I replace that nipple with this one, then I can run that conduit right up in here. And we may have to run new wires. So let's just get let's get this wire out of here. And we'll start doing that. Wow, I don't know where any of my tools are. I've been working on the solar shed for the last, or not the solar shed, the fence for the last few days. And it's taken all of my time, but it's going to be really nice once it's done, but it certainly has been time consuming. So we're going to open this one, and the ground. That worked. All right, let's see if we can get this out of here now. Not damaging anything. Sorry, you guys can't see that. The wire is wrapped a service loop in there and it caused me a real problem. Okay. So now that that's out, let's double check this. I think what the problem here is that, yeah, that's exactly what the issue is. That's a 1/2 inch and this is a 3/4 inch. So I'm just going to replace this nipple here with this one, and then we're going to run a piece of conduit to do that, so that we don't have to worry about it. Let me grab. You know what I could do is put this camera on like this, and I'll back this camera up, and that way, when I'm moving around, you guys can actually see me and know what's going on. So I'm over here at my little tool bench here. My mess bench is here. And I am going to do, replace that case nipple. So let's just do that real quick. First things first. Hope you guys can hear me okay. Looks like you can. I haven't paid any attention to who's online or anything. Let me just scroll over there real quick. All right. Yeah, it looks like it's going okay. All right. If anybody needs anything, just yell. I'll be here. All right. So let's replace this chase nipple here with the one for the conduit. So that's the one oh wow, that came off really nice and easy. I think there was a nut on both sides as opposed to it. And there was. Nice. Okay. Now if that hole isn't too big, man, that is one huge ass. Well, that's interesting. If I flip that around, put that in like that, I think that side will take in this. It doesn't buy anything unless this doesn't fit. If this doesn't fit, then we got a problem. Oh, this fits. Now let's just replace it. Much easier. And then we know it's done and it's done right. Don't have to worry about it. It's a nice little thing we can use later. Okay. All right, so just hold this screw back there. Now I don't have a bender, so I am going to have to use two 90-degree corners to do this. which shouldn't be a problem. I mean, that's exactly what I would bend anyway, is 290 degrees. I don't want to tighten that, whoops, too much because it's in that plastic. It's good and tight now, so I don't think I have to worry about it. All right, so what was that? Where did that come from? That's interesting. Oh, I see. It's the gap holder here for this. No big deal. Okay. All right. So if you wanted to add something to this breaker box, all right, I think this will snap in right up here. Yeah, that's all it is. Okay, that's good. All right. Had me worried there are pieces falling off. I don't know where they came from. So now I think what we've got to do is figure out where I can put this that I can use a 90-degree to turn here and a 90-degree to turn here. One to turn this way and then one to turn back up into that. Because the only other way I can do it is either mount it sideways like that or mount it upside down, and I don't want to do that. So I think I'll mount it here next to it, and we'll just come out, go over, and go back up in there. Now, let me see if I can find a couple of 90 degrees. I think they're right here on this bench. Aha, perfect. All right, so that will come out here and then go right in there. And then the only thing that I'll need is the piece right here in the middle. And we can just cut a little piece off of that one and use a little couple straight connectors. 1, 2. Wow, that one's really discolored. Look at that. Maybe I have another one here that isn't this. Oh, good. A whole package of them here. I'm going to grab another one that isn't discolored out of here. All right, so we're going to come out of this and go across and go up into that. And that should be perfect, right? And then we're just going to connect it with a piece of this. So what I got to do is get the height just right so that this goes exactly straight across. And if I cut this piece first, then I can mount that based on exactly where this is. And I don't have to worry about that. All right, so let's get started here. So let's start first by getting this one. Let's just get this one in and screw it down just a little bit, just so I can see where it's going to be. Okay, so if it's there, then this one we will be putting up in this side here. All right, all these little stickers and stuff on them, just moving them out of the way here. This one is gonna get myself into a pinch where I can't move. Okay, so then this one goes here, and there's no intake right here immediately next to it. So if it's out just that far or even this far, it's not going to matter. So all I need to do is get myself a piece of conduit that's about the right length, trim it off of that piece that we just had there on the floor, and let's get a tape measure and figure out how long that needs to be. And we can trim that. Oh, my tape measures. Yeah, that figures. All the tape measures are probably with all the fencing stuff outside, and I'm not going out there because it's starting to get cold outside. So we're going to estimate here. All right, we'll use this as a measuring stick. Put this on the wall here, and we need one that is about About that long. I'm going to do this again just to make sure. Put that there. And if it's this long, it would mount right about there. And that should look just dandy. Okay, that's what we're doing. I am going to put all of this back onto the workbench and pull over the saw. I just so happen to have the saw here because I've been using it for the fence. So all I need to do is replace this blade with a metal blade as opposed to this wooden one. Those wooden ones are, oh, look at that. I got a tape measure hanging on my side. Jeez Louise. So here is the metal blade, and this is pretty easy. You just twist this. This one comes out. Twist this, and this one goes in. All right. Now we need to take our little measuring stick that we had here. Point this camera down so you guys can see what I'm doing. And let's just take this as our little measuring stick. We needed it to be this long. I'm going to mark it right here. I really want to use my other hand. I'm going to move this camera over this way a little bit so that I can turn this around like this. And pardon the noise while I cut this. The weirdest tool, they put your hand, I'm going to show you guys this, your hand goes in this, and when you squeeze this to start it, you squeeze the lock button. This damn thing locks more often than it doesn't lock. It's kind of dangerous. That time it didn't shut off when I let go of it. Had I not been paying attention, it would have been very bad. All right, so let's clean up all the burrs on this thing. I love these wire strippers because they got this nice little burr cleaner here. Smooth as it can be. There we go. That end needs a little burr cleaning too. That's even a factory cut. But got to check them because they'll scratch your wires up and cause some damage. All right, and that all that does is this edge right here is just made just to knock those burrs off, and it works pretty well. I usually just keep going until I feel safe enough holding it and sticking my fingers in them without getting burrs, and once I get to that point, I feel pretty safe that it won't cause me any trouble electrically either. All right, so let's take a look now at, I'm going to need wire for this. 3,000 watts at 120 volts. Let's just do the math real quick. Gotta find me a 3,000 watts divided by 120 volts leaves me with 25 amps. I'm going to take a look at that box real quick. 10 gauge wire ought to do real good. Those are 20 amps a piece. Yep. Okay, so 20 amps each outlet. But if I plug in more than that to two of them, it'll blow the whole thing, which is good. And the inverter also has backup protection. Okay, so that's nice. We will, then that means I just need to get some wire. Let me see if, where is the wire? Give me just a second, guys. I'm gonna have to go out to the shed, find my spool of thought I had dug it out already. But now that I think about it, I don't remember seeing it anywhere. So let me just climb up in here. Yep, here it is. Okay. All right, so here we are. I'm going to take this spool of wire, perfect for this conduit. And we're just going to come out of won't need near this much, which is good. I got plenty. I'm going to run it down. This way I don't have to thread it later. Kind of cheating, but that's okay. I don't mind. Let's see. We got the, where did I put those connectors? Hell. It's not there. Oh, they're sitting right up there. Huh. Okay. So then we put on, trying to stay out of the view of the camera here for you guys. Put on one of these on this side. Put on this. These for this side. And this. Feeding wire like this and you feel that thing catching like that, stop it, because what it'll do is it'll shave off a little of the insulation. All that insulation is really a necessity. Make everything work the way you want it to safely. All right. That should be more than enough on both ends. I do want to look at this end though. This is going to go up. Oh yeah, that's plenty. Okay. So that should be more than enough on that end, more than enough on this end. I'm just going to take this thing, trim it off here. And that should be way more than I need on this side. So this side, if I need a little extra, I have it. All right, now let's get this power box mounted. Because once I mount this, then I can tighten up all of that. But what I don't want to do is all right, now this is where having a second person is handy, but not absolutely necessary. I'm going to feed this up through here. Thought I already took those screws out. I'm not, oh, it was the two that held the wire that I took out. Okay. All right, that makes more sense. I'm going crazy. I think there's 4 of them in there, but there wasn't 4. It's slapping out. There we go. All right. Now, you right there. Look at that. That's perfect. I think all right, so you're doing that. I'm trying to catch the slack now so that it doesn't slack after I let go is the thing. And I'm worried about this being droopy once I'm done here. That's kind of what I was fighting with. It didn't feel like it went all the way. Well, I did though. Okay. All right, so put you up out of the way here. Second. Just catch enough to hold yourself up. There we go. All right, now let's take care of all of this. I don't like those screws. All right, so normally I would take where in the heck is Sorry guys, I'm looking for the right screwdriver here. All right, complete set now. Normally I take all of these screws and I point them all in the same direction. Just a thing I like to do. So in this case, forward here, but this one has kind of a goofy lip there and it's in the same spot as the screw that comes in from the case. So this one had to go in a funky way. And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to move it. So what I'm going to do is tighten it a little bit to where it's pointing directly sideways as opposed to straight out. Normally I would take them all and point them all straight out and then tighten them where all of their threads are straight across, but I can't do that in this case because the way that thing is mounted on there, see here, nice and straight across, a little bit more. Okay, now these, point those straight out. Get this one here first. Second. Now, I guess if I had a bending tool, what would be really cool is to bend this in and come straight across and bend it up, make a nice little piece that fit perfectly. But really, I haven't done a whole lot of this conduit stuff. I did some for the food trailer and I did some for a couple of in-houses and stuff when you do that kind of stuff. But doing things like this, I haven't done a whole lot of it. So I'm just going to make sure that it's in there and that it's safe that way as opposed to being ran straight across and all that kind of stuff. It droops back a little bit because the chase plug, or the nipple, I guess I should say, for this one is further back than this one is sticking out. So if we look at that, this one is, you know, about an inch away from the wall to the back, and this one is way 3.5 inches out. But that's really good. That works really well, and now it's nice and safe, and we can focus on hooking up the inside here. Not a whole lot to it. Negative, positive. They're labeled neutral line. We do neutral line ground over here, and we should be good. And then over here, it's pretty easy. AC out, neutral line, ground over here. We're going to have to figure out all of the grounds, because I'm thinking what I'm going to do is round them all to the same ground. What I might do is run them all into a grounding bar. That's what I probably should do, is get a grounding bar that grounds directly to the grid ground. Since I did eventually hook up the grid, I should probably go ahead and just use the grid ground to take care of that. You guys can see okay? Probably not. At least you can now. Okay, so we got the box mounted. We got the conduit in. We got the lines here. So let's wire the box first and get it done, and then we can snip off what we need to snip off over here. I'm still not happy with the ground key aspects of this. Oh, it's ground right there. Okay, so we'll run that ground that way, and this one over there. Okay, yeah, we should be fine. All right, let me find the right cutters to do that. Those big ones would work, but I'd prefer the small ones if I have them. Here they are. All right, let me just double check on what's going on online, make sure I'm not missing anything. Hope you guys all can hear me and everything's going okay. All right. We're just doing some maintenance here today, playing around with an inverter, EG4 3000 watt inverter right here next to the 6000, but this one's more of a test system than that one is. And so I'm going to leave a service loop in here because I left so much wire. If I decide to move this, I hate to trim off so much. So let's just trim off enough to leave some tough wire. Oh, that's stranded. I didn't even realize that was stranded. I'm going to need to get some. That's stranded because that's the stuff I used in the that's the stuff I used when I was building the coffee trailer. And I had to run multiple sets through this conduit all the way around the edges of the coffee trailer. And the last thing I wanted to do was hook up a whole bunch of, run solid wire through all those conduits. What a pain in the butt that would be. I'm going to move this second camera over a little bit closer. Maybe you get a little bit better view from one or the other here. Can't believe the bit miner still hasn't come on. It's going to be day over before it ever even turns on. That's kind of sad. No bit mining today. Unless I pull in some grid to do it, and I don't want to do that. All right, so let's take a look at barrels here. So we can Let's see which size we need here. This one looks like the right size. That's the one. I wonder if I strip back enough, or I think I'm going to trim it off. I don't want that thing being that long. All right, so let's put the ferrule on it. Now, with that ferrule, it's a tiny bit longer than what I needed. So what I'm going to do is trim off the extra ferrule. So that that fits up in there. The way it's supposed to. Come on, where's the Phillips screwdriver? Oh yeah, that's perfect. So what you want is let me see if I can show you on the phone here. If I can grab my phone and give you a view of this. If my phone is still working, sometimes this thing continues to work, sometimes it don't. So let's try over here. Phone. Oh, it's working still. Okay. So what you want to do when you're doing this, first of all, I trimmed that off so it was just the right length. But you want this to go in all the way. But as you can see there, nothing is going to get it's not going to pinch down on the insulation, but there's not going to be any exposed wire here that has the ability to get touched or anything. That's really what we're after there. Let me grab this screwdriver, see if I can do both of these at the same time. And I can't look back at the camera to make sure you can see it, so I hope you can. But I'm going to tighten this down. And this, with stranded wire now, is all the way up in there, but the insulation is not part of what was clamped. It's strictly the ferrule that was clamped. Hopefully that was viewable to you guys. I'm going to switch this view back. There we go. Hopefully you could see that. If not, let me know. I will adjust whatever cameras I need to make sure you can see appropriately. I'll try to zoom this one in just a little bit too. Sometimes it always amazes me how far the cameras have to point in one part of the direction or another to get what you want on the screen. Okay, so now that that's done, let's move on to the other ones. Let's just do the same thing. I'm just going to build a nice little service loop here. Trim this off. Strip it back. Oh, it's the wrong one. Strip it back. Get the ferrule. I can't see it well enough. The glare is so bad that I can't see if I got all the strands in it. The other one went in so easily. This one. A little bit more problematic. There it goes. Almost, I had one strand out. Sometimes you have to have a little bit of patience. And sometimes you have to have a pair of glasses. Did it with the other one. It went right in the first time, no problem. Didn't give me any issues. And now, oh no, my glasses case is empty. Look around, where are they? I don't see them anywhere. Probably means I carried them in the house on my head. Oh, there they are. Yay. Okay. All right, so I don't need those. I need crimpers right here. Okay. That's better. Missed one still. Wow, that first one made it look easy, didn't it? Did I go with the wrong size? Oh, I must have. It's a little easier. Still has one out. One strand that keeps escaping there. All right, now we got it. All right, and then we're going to trim off that excess at the end. I like the way that cut better. Just flatten that back into shape. All right. And then we're going to loop this back, just like we did the other one, right into there. Where in the world did I put that screwdriver? Back here, of course. All right. Now let's get this one up in here. That one's just about perfect like the other one. All right. Make sure both of those are good and tight. Make sure they can't wiggle out. Make sure after I wiggle them that they're still tight. All right, now let's deal with the ground. All right, so the ground, we could do probably the same thing, just build a little excess like that. Don't really need to have the full loop on that one. Let's cut this one off right here. And then I'm going to strip this one just a little bit more, because here we have the room for it. And barrel. Oh, that one went right on. All right. Now that one does have wire all the way to the end, so I'm not going to trim it. And that's because it's going into this bus bar over here, so it really isn't problematic for it to be there. Loop this around a little bit like that. I want it to be a little bit more looped so there's no tension on it. And then, all right, that's good. Now let's get something up here. Slide it in, not all the way, enough to where it won't come out, and then it has a little bit of room on each side is my theory. You know, in this grounding one, it doesn't have a cage on the side to hold it in place, so sometimes you have to tighten them a little bit more. Try to make sure you wiggle them a little bit more. That's pretty good and tight now. All right, and that ain't going anywhere. I like that loop. Push that loop down here, like that. There we go. All right, nice loops up here, nice loops down there. Oh, there went our bit miner. I'll be damned. All right, so let me just repoint the cameras here for a few minutes because the bit miner came on, but the problem is I don't have any internet connected to the bit miner right now. So I'm going to have to wire one up. And I'm going to turn it that way also so that that boiler light heat right on me. So I just need to get a cable up into here. Bear with me for a second while I get this. Let me find a network cable here real quick. I cleaned up all those cables the other night. I should have, oh, I do. I have a bag with cables right here. I should be able to get one of these. This one's good. We will just snip the zip tie off of it. We stole the BitMiner's Ethernet cable for the live stream. So I'm just going to put this temporary one down here. And you can see it immediately started communicating. And it should be quiet enough that the last couple times I did this, it was quiet enough that it could run, there it is. It could run while I was in here. So we're just going to give it a second to make sure it clears up that fault from not having Ethernet. It's okay. I needed to take a break anyway, have a Mountain Dew, check you guys out, make sure everybody's okay. Hopefully everyone's doing all right out there. Oh, let's just see what we got going on here. Can't do that. You guys, all right. And there goes that BitMiner, double checking its speed and making sure its fans are working. I'm going to sit here for just a second, let it kick off. Otherwise, it'll be an hour before I look back over there. And I will basically ignore it after that. So let me just double check to make sure that we are still broadcasting in live here. I broke my screen somehow. There it is. Okay, yeah, we're back. All right. Yeah, okay. All right, so the BitMiner's running. It kicked on in the middle of this, so we're going to get back to taking a look at building. Where am I at? What camera am I on here? Forget that thing. Let's just get back to putting this thing together here. So far, we're in pretty good shape here. We got this all ran. It's all safe. All the connections are tidy. I do want to take a quick screwdriver to the rest of these connections and just make sure that there's nothing else loose here. This Chinese stuff is not safe unless you double check everything. And even that, there was a couple of versions of this that really were not totally safe at all. So here we are. They had a few versions where these were daisy chained off of here as opposed to each one individually ran. And you got to be very careful with that because it required all of the amperage to flow through one wire to the first one, even though they were all independently plugged from the fuses. it didn't stop them from pulling too many amps through one wire. Now this one is right. It has the main one coming in here, and it's bust off into each individual one there. So it's fine. So it looks like all of these wires are tight. All of these connections are good. I'm just going to double check every one of them. And then I'm going to double check the ones I just did to make sure I didn't miss anything, which it is good. Now I'm going to push this seal back into place here and close this up. There's that thing again. That panel, that extra space in the breaker has that gap filler. All right, there's one. There's two. Normally, this is IP, I don't know, 64, I think they said, which means it's kind of splash proof. That rubber seal seals in, a little crease goes in, it pushes into that rubber seal all the way around it. So you got to be kind of careful when you're putting this back on, or you can damage that seal and then it won't handle water. All right. There we go. Now we're just going to open this up, put this space taker here back. I do want to double check that. Yeah, it's a little loose. That's good. Okay. Now we're just going to fill that gap with that. Close these. And that's that side. Now let's wire this side up over here. So we're just going to pull these up, leave as much room as I can without I am putting ferrules on all of these. I don't want to deal with the stranded wire. Any connection issues or anything else later. Can't tell if that pushed all the way up in there, if there's a little extra. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. Let's get that up in there and make sure these actually fit, because these ferrules are making this square. Oh, wow, fit well. Okay. And let's just tighten it up. Fit well because it didn't actually go in. There we go. So same thing's true on these. You want to strip it down far enough where you get the whole thing up in there into this, but that the insulation doesn't expose below it bare wire. So that's kind of the idea there. Now, Going to try to leave a little service loop in here. It's about 50-50 chance that if I come back and put any grid in here, I'll have to take it out. But in the meantime, it's nice to have. If I decide to move something around or anything like that. All right. All right, I'm just discombobulated with tools today. I just cannot seem to keep them. Even when they're in my lap, can't find them. All right. Good. And good. All right. Now let's take a look at this is all done here. So what's left is the battery section. Well, let's see what we got for battery options here. We got a post right here and a post right here. So let's take a look at what we have. First, let's clean up some of these tools. Get all of this out of the way. That's not a tool. Okay. Well, I got half the tools anyway. Okay, now we've got all of that back in place. That doesn't look half bad. Now let's see if we can get these battery terminals. These are the battery terminals that they send us. So I'm just going to use these as is. And nice thing is everything's already breakered and everything over there, so I don't have to worry about that. What we'll want to do here, and I think what I'm going to do here is just get the, those are way long, but I don't want to trim them today because I don't know where the rest of all of this is going to go yet. So this part I knew pretty firm on it, but I think what I'm going to do is just basically connect this up and start this up and make sure it runs. I think that's our best line of, uh-oh, uh-oh. Oh, doesn't matter anyway. Inverter connects up here. Okay, good. Woo! That's the wrong side of the breaker to be hooking things up. It's not a battery. So what I basically do is I use the, and I'm going to move this camera over here so I can show you guys this. I use the 2-bus technique here. And with that technique, you basically, all your batteries come in through this bus. Everything runs through a breaker. And then all of your use chargers, inverters run on the inside bus. The positive has the breaker. The negative has the shunt. This allows you to measure the capacity of the entire bank all in one place accurately. The shunts that are in these batteries are super duper cheap and they don't work real well. So what you need to do is, if you're going to have multiple batteries, then you're going to want to have a shunt here in the middle. And these come in a variety of things. I like the Victron 500 amp shunts. They run about $100. I think they're $102. Amazingly, they keep the prices really, 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 really super consistent. And then from there, I run everything else off of that. So here I've got the inverter running up. I got the charger running up. I got the charge controller running into it. So all the feeds come in this side, and this can measure everything that comes in and out of the battery. And on this side, we have the breaker so that I can make sure that if there's an overcurrent or a short or anything, that it pops the whole thing. Now, every battery has an individual breaker on it also down here. So if you're looking down here at these batteries, down here, each one of these has a breaker switch also that allows me to independently breaker the battery, and then this does the entire system, so if something goes on past this point, it can be done. This is a 48 to 12 volt converter to run the cabinet. For those of you who have been with me before, I will show you the cabinet. We did get all of the AC power removed from the cabinet. This is totally off-grid now. I don't rely any on anything but the 48 volt battery. So I have a 12 volt conversion here, 12 volt to 5 volts here, and everything. This one runs on 5 volts, this one runs on 12 volts, and all of the Raspberry Pis run on their USB ports. So everything is converted in this cabinet, and theoretically, I could shut the power off to the whole solar shed at this point, and we would stay live, and this live stream would continue on because my computer would run off a battery. This camera is USB, it would run off a battery. That camera would run off a battery, it would run off a battery or a connection to the laptop actually. And all of this would continue running. All of our Wi-Fi would continue working. And even if the inverter was to go down, that's kind of really cool. So it doesn't matter if there's an overload or anything. But I can't do it today because the BitMiner is running. Speaking of which, let's check on the BitMiner's progress. Let's do that real quick, and then we'll get on to hooking this battery up. So I'm going to move this camera over here, switch you guys' view to allow you to see me here at the computer. That's not the one I want. I want screen capture. There we go. And then I want to come down over to the screen capture screen and switch over to this one. All right, so let's just go take a look at, I think I'm manning Digibyte today. Gosh, I don't remember. Let's just go take a look. Yes, I am. There it is. Digibyte's running today. 13 is where I started, so I haven't hit anything today at all, but I do have one active. 12 shares have been done. So they're doing, and let's just take a look at the actual BitMiner itself. I do have it running at reduced power so that it only uses 2,200 watts as opposed to the 3,200 watts. The efficiency is a little bit better there. but I get 82,000 gigahertz hash out of it, so that's pretty good. Yeah, so it is. It's running Solo Pool, Digi Byte today. 14 of them. I wonder if I can shrink that down. It doesn't want to shrink, does it? Oh, there it goes. Oh, wow. I didn't know I could do that. So we are running 15 million packets so far have been accepted. So not too bad. We haven't found anything, but hey, that's life. I was running that new Quai yesterday and the day before, and that was kind of interesting. Boy, that PV must have just bounced up for a second because it is just going to suck on that battery. PV is just non-existent. Over 3,000 yesterday, and we are at 500 today. It's just horrible out there. Just horrible. But the battery will run down to 50% and shut off. So we did generate a lot of power earlier today without it running. So we'll get that power back, and then we'll continue doing our work here. So let's go back to our camera view, our normal camera view here. There we go. And let's get back to getting this inverter set up. All right. Make sure my camera views are good. This one is not. I am going to change this one to give you guys a little bit closer view. So we're going to hook the battery up here to the inverter, run them down to the positive bus bar and the negative bus bar. I am not going to worry about cable management today because I want to get all of this over here tested, and all of this is all done, and get this one up and running, and that will allow me to check and make sure that everything is working. It will also allow me, if I'm going to, I use this system for testing, it will allow me to pull these cables off and connect them to a test system. So let's just start here by getting these in. Oh, those are labeled real well. They're labeled positive and minus, and there is just a screw lug up in there. So we're just going to take these two cables and connect them first. Let's see what kind of screwdriver does that need. It is a standard. Is that a square head? I hope so. That would be nice if it was. Let's just, I thought I had a square head screwdriver over here, but it looks like when I picked up all the tools, I picked up all the screwdrivers too. So let's just bring the square head here and make sure. Yeah, it looks like it is. Okay. So let's just slide the positive up in here and loosen this enough. It's kind of up in a cage up in here. And then we're going to tighten this back down. And I think I might put a zip tie tying this up. Why is that? It's the same as the other ones. You have to back it out in order to get it to go into the lug. I don't think that's square. It's just riding on top of the, that definitely fits. Okay. That's good. And then the negative, we'll do the same thing here. Except we'll start off by backing this one out so that we don't have to worry about it not fitting up in there. There we go. All right, both of them are good and tight. Now, I am going to zip tie them to that pipe for a little bit of support. I'm a little uncomfortable just pulling these wires around, and one of them pops off, it hits the wrong thing, it bounces across one of these batteries, causes some real problems. So let me grab a couple of zip ties real quick, and we will tie that down a little bit just to be sure they don't pop out. I don't think they will because I tightened them down pretty good, but you know, those kind of mistakes can be really bad. So this will keep it, if it does pop out, it'll keep it from falling on the ground. It'll keep it from falling on the other ones, and it'll buy me some time to figure out how I want to route these really officially. I'm thinking they probably need to be routed in maybe some conduit down into a thing. I'm thinking about getting one of those cases. Just put all the batteries in a case and be done with it. But I do so much switching around and moving things around that I don't know that that would do me a whole lot of good. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Yeah, NSB, it is definitely getting cold and rainy. It's going to get ugly. It's very sad, isn't it? I'm not looking forward to it. I hate cold weather. And, you know, around here, a lot of people's pipes are above ground, too. So the problem is that a lot of, we're just not prepared for this kind of weather. And it's going to be, you know, terrible for a lot of people because our pipes are above ground. I mean, even like my well pump is, you know, sits above ground, and it has some small, you know, 1/2-inch PVC there that's going to freeze. Now, I'm fortunate enough I was able to go out there and wrap it and get it covered that way. But there's going to be a lot of people that don't. That's not going to work. I mean, it would work, but I don't like the tension that it's giving. I'm going to put that under this one, up around that one, like that. That's better. Then we're going to need a 1/2-inch socket here to tighten these up. And then the black one, I'm going to bring it up behind all of these, around and around here to this one over there. So I'm going to get my 1/2-inch socket before I start tightening that up. And that way I can make sure that they're good and tight. But I don't see my 1/2-inch socket. Uh-oh. What's going on? I don't see a socket anywhere. Oh, there it is. Just buried on the workbench. All right. Let's just give this one a good tighten before we move forward here. All right, now this one over here. Let me think about this for a minute. This inverter has on-off switch down here. So I shouldn't need to do a capacitor, but I'm not convinced that it won't charge some capacitors in there anyway. So let me just grab one and let's just do it safely anyhow, just to be sure. And even if I don't need to do it, for many of you, this was something that always eluded most people. You know, this is a tin. It's just a little, it's like a nice resistor. And it just restricts the flow of, oh, the wind is coming. It just restricts the flow of electricity to the point where it can't pull any more than 10 or 12 watts at a time. And so what happens is when you connect this, when I connect this, if it needed to charge the capacitors in this, it would pull 30, 40, 50 amps, just boom, like that. Now, they charge very fast, but the problem is that that would cause this huge spark when we touch it. So if you touch it, if you do it, go through this first, then what allows this to happen is that it allows it to charge, but at a limited amount of speed. And then you don't have that spark. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put on a couple of pair of gloves. Yeah, probably ought to put on some safety glasses too, just to be sure. Especially when you're dealing with inverters, they have usually huge inrushes at the very first time. Now these batteries, if I was able to shut them all off and connect it and then flip the batteries on, then it would take care of it. But I'm not going to do that because this one's actually running things and operating everything. So we're going to do this while it's live. But the easiest way to do this is just get you a capacitor. I bought a pack of 10 of these off of Amazon for I think $5. This is just a 50 ohm, 10 watt, 50 ohm resistor. And if you find them out there, then basically you just put them on one end here, touch the other end there, and give it a few minutes to charge up any capacitors that are in there. Now, depending on the size of the device, you're going to want to give it longer time to do it. Now, if it's something small, you'll see it kind of come on as long as there's no loads. And you can also use a light bulb for this. You can use a little 10 watt light bulb. I put a 48 volt light bulb in the RV trailer to allow it to do this exact same thing. It just jumps the positive past the breaker being turned on so that I could charge it up those capacitors slowly without having any problem. Then once you're done with this, you basically just take this and switch it over right onto the plug, and then there's no spark and nothing happens. And that's what prevents that from happening, because now it allowed that power to flow in nice and slow at 10 watts at a time, which isn't big enough to really cause any kind of spark. Because you're looking at, even at 48 volts, you're looking at 0.1 amps. So it's a very small amount of power here. We'll give that a good tighten. All right, now we've got that hooked up. We've got that hooked up. Put these. I don't know what happened to the other cover. What in the world is wrong with me today? I'm losing everything. Oh, here it is, right here on the ground. That's why I'm losing everything. All right, we'll put this one on. That. All right, so now we know this has power. I do need to pick up a couple of items here, get these out of the way. I want to trim off these zip ties so that they're not hanging out in my way. There we go. Those over there in the garbage. All right, so it looks like we're ready to roll. So we have the inverter all set up. I don't know if I can get this camera in a position where you can see it. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to move my chair out of here, pull this camera over closer, and raise it so we get a good view of the inverter as we commission it. The only problem I've got is that light. A little glary, isn't it? Let's see. How high do I have to go to get the glare to be gone? Right there. All right, let me see if I can find something to set this on that'll allow me to give you guys that view without the glare. Ah. Oh, look at that. There was one more level in there. I don't need the box. Huh. Okay. There was one more level in there and I didn't need the box. So now we have the, I want to see if I can get both of those in the picture here. Okay, that's perfect. Matter of fact, I'm gonna turn off the camera showing me on the side. Oh no, actually it's kind of helpful too. Okay, so let's just do it this way. That might actually be too high, huh? Ah, great. Okay. That should give you the view of both pieces here. So now we ought to be able to reach up underneath here and turn this on. All right, we got lights. That's a good sign. And showing out, oh, look at that. This lit up too. It's showing output. And this one's showing output also. So it's got 0 input and 120 volts output, which is exactly what we would want. Showing it, I think what this is registering is that we don't have a battery, which is true, we do not. So we probably need to find the manual. We've got no PV. Input battery 51.7 volts. Yeah, these are all the settings, and I don't know what any of them are. So all I did was turn it on. So let's power something. Yeah. I mean, what's the worst that could happen, right? All right, let's get over here and find something that we can power right here. Our heat shrink gun should have a decent pull on it. We're just going to plug this in and turn it on. Look at that. Now, one of these, oh, that's interesting. Look at that. Output 50 hertz. We don't want that. This is America. We're going to have to switch that to 60 hertz. So let me find the manual here, and then we will hunt down the configurations, because I don't want to run things when on the wrong at 50 hertz. That's not good for it. Our equipment's not made for it. Some of it is, because some of it comes from overseas anyway, but a lot of it isn't. So, all right, here we are. Found the manual. All right, so let's take a look at the manual here. I'm going to back this camera off. And just lower this one again. And we'll pull my chair back up over here. We can move that a little bit closer where you guys can actually see what's going on. But, all right. So So we're going to take a look at the manual here and see if we can figure out how to configure this puppy the way we want it. First, we know we want 60 hertz. We don't want 50 hertz. So I'm going to take these gloves off. Although I can't feel it getting colder out there. It is definitely, the temperature out there is dropping, which is not good. All right, now I do have the diesel heater if I need it, but hopefully it won't get that bad. All right, so let's take a look here. You know what we need to do too is I would like to plug in an outlet tester into that before we go any further to make sure that that plug is wired correctly. And this is something I try to do on everything I wire up before I plug something in, and this time I just happened to break my own rules. Sometimes you get overconfident. And you can see here, this is reporting that I don't have an open ground, which it's true. The ground is not connected to, there is no connection between the two. So we'll have to resolve that. And I was going to resolve that through running it back through the grid, but I did not do that yet. So we'll have to do that. But this is just a test at this point. So let's go ahead and get it commissioned, and we can come back and get these items fixed. So power on from battery or solar. LCD display. Okay, so you guys can see everything okay, right? Okay, good. We are going to take a look at the different aspects of, I wonder if I can give you a view of this. We're going to take a look at the different aspects of, man, that thing is just not going to give you a readable view. It kind of is. All right, so I need to figure out how to get to the programming mode. Okay, so program settings. After press and hold the enter key for 3 seconds until, all right, so let's just point this back up here. And you know what? I'm gonna take this all the way back to you guys being able to see it too, because this is kind of the meat of the story here. So hopefully that's viewable. Maybe a little bit higher if I can get it. Okay. So here's where I'm reading from the manual. It says after press and hold the enter key for 3 seconds until it will enter setting mode. Up and down will change the settings in the programs and enter button. So we're going to press and hold this, and we have setting 1. And setting 1 is solar energy provides power for loads, top priority. Yep, that's fine. So we're going to move on to setting 2. Setting 2 is the maximum current configuration, that total charging current for solar utility chargers, so that's fine. Number 3 is AC input voltage range, which it doesn't make any difference, but it is set to APL, which is acceptable AC input voltage range will be from 70 and 160 volts, which is fine. You can set it to generator or UPS. Save power mode. Saving power mode if disabled, so that's option 4. SD5 or 5D5. If disabled, whether connected load is low or high, the on-off status of the inverter will not be affected. If enabled, the output of the inverter will be off when the connected load is too low or not detected. Well, that's interesting. So this has a shutdown mode for when you don't have enough draw on it. I'm just going to leave it in the way it's set now, which is stay on all the time. We're going to go to battery type number 5, says AGM. User-defined custom protocol, blah, blah, blah. We're just going to leave it at AGM for now. And auto restart when overload occurs. Overload, restart disabled by default. Restart enabled. LFE is restart enabled. Okay. And then auto restart when over temperature occurs. This is restart enabled. Okay. And then output voltage is 120 volts, which is what we want. Their options are 120, 110, or 115. We're going to use 120. Then the next one is hertz. And this one should be changed to 60 hertz. It didn't hold. Okay. I don't want to get it to stay. Well, let's see if it has directions on that. Wow, there's a lot of settings in here. Up or down button, select a program, then press the enter button to confirm the selection or escape to enter, to exit. Okay, so, and it switches back. I'm wondering if there is a reason it can't switch in the middle. It doesn't note it on here at all. Option 9. I'm going to just try it. Ah, so it can't do that while the inverter is on. That's what the problem was. Okay. So what happened is I turned the inverter on before it was even set up. Oddly enough, I guess it just happened to come on at the same time I switched the power on. Okay, anyway. So frequency, when these auto selected to bypass utility within the range of defined program, maximum utility charge current is that's for auto bypass of grid, which we don't want. We want off grid. We want maximum utility charge current. It's 2 amps, 10 amps, 20 amps, or 30 amps. We're going to I'm going to set it to 10 amps, and this will allow me to configure it to be fed from the other solar system without the charge inverter. Interesting. Okay. So that's good. And that way I can feed both of them, one through the charge inverter and one through this. And hopefully this is more efficient than going through the charge inverter, but we'll see. Utilities, point back utilities, don't need that. Return default display screen. Backlight control. Okay. So I think we turn this on now. $60 There, now we're talking. All right, so that's the same there. Everything's working. All the configurations look like they're good this time. We still got to deal with the grounding issue, but that's going to be for the tie-in to the grid that we have over there. And I want to build a common ground between all of these that goes back to the house ground there. So let's just plug this in. I wonder if there's a way to see how much it's actually pulling load. 0%. It says that we're pulling 12 amps, 1,450 watts, and this says we're at 48%, which would be about 1,450 watts. So that's pretty good. That means that everything is functioning and working the way it's supposed to. And that's great. I'm kind of excited to have it here now. Oh, you know what? Well, this ought to be fun. I have no idea where this thing connects. And there's a couple of different ports down here at the underneath. So I'm going to have to, this is the wireless piece. I do want to hook it up so that I can track it in Solar Assistant or Home Assistant. And then I can basically use this for testing. But for now, I don't know where it plugs in. I'll bet it plugs into one of these ports. I bet they sent me a cable that came with this. I'm going to have to look around and see if I can find that cable. It's been so long that I've had this thing that I don't even remember. What I would like to do is get a second one of these and change the food truck to have 6,000 watts pure power. When it runs on a generator, it can run on 6,000 watts generator power, but you have to balance the legs perfectly. If it didn't have to balance, if it had pure 6,000 watts, I think I could run the whole coffee trailer on 2 of these and about 15 to 20 kilowatt hours of battery power. That would basically take the coffee trailer off grid. I could either charge it before I get to a site based on solar here, or when I get there, I could have it trickle charge with a small 110 outlet somewhere, and a couple of solar panels, and maybe even be able to keep up that way, because it would be able to run the to trickle charge all night, and the solar would be there all the time too. But yet your devices wouldn't be on all the time. So that would be interesting. We may have to try that sometime this summer. I got to get into that coffee trailer and redo some pieces of it. So, all right. Let's see what this says. Indicates battery level 0 to 25. This indicates the load level, this little thing over here. So I measured that right. There's an overload light that comes on. Indicates utility circuit is operational. Indicates the DC/AC inverter circuit is operational, which is true. Units alarm, no, it's not lit. That's good. Okay, so really, this is the only thing I've got to figure out is how to get the wireless device to work. And this thing is pretty much running. I haven't done any of my typical homework. I just basically took it out of the box and plugged it in. So I just wanted to get it up and running today. It's getting cold outside, and I knew I have some tests coming up with 48 volts, so this makes sure that I can do that. I don't see here in the directions anywhere. You know dang good and well it's here. But where? Where is it? Index. Nope. All right, here we go. Table of contents. Introduction, batteries, basic system overview, installation, packaging list, locations of installation required, installation, we prepare, install an inverter, PV connections, battery connections, AC, final assembly, operation guides, dry contacts, LED display, program settings, display settings, operating modes, 120 single phase in parallel, 240 split phase in parallel, parallel installation, communications with BMS in parallel settings, 3 inverters in phase, 4 inverters, support for 3-phase, 2 inverters in split phase, greater than 2 inverters in parallel, PV connections, fault codes, commissioning parallel system, parallel troubleshooting, lithium BMS connection, LCD setting, e.g. for lithium batteries, setting for lithium without communication, setting for lithium without communication. 57. Let's just take a look at that real quick. Setting for lithium without communications. For example, if you use lithium batteries without a BMS communication following is set up before charging the perimeters, get it max charge filter, AGM, flood it. Yeah, I'll have to go back and change that to user defined. That's what it's basically saying. Okay. So I'll set that to the same charging configuration as all my other chargers. That's not what I was looking for, but it was useful. Troubleshooting faults, fault code, specification setting. Lithium battery communications, lithium battery settings, parallel. Wi-Fi plug. I wonder if the Bluetooth is there. Well, let's find my phone. And let's see if the Bluetooth is available. Do 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 do. Doesn't look like it. At least there's no new Bluetooth devices showing up here if it is. Um, let's see if that's a serial number. Ah, that's not what I wanted. There is an EG4 app that I use for the 6000. I know the app for this one is different though. So let's just go see, maybe we can get the app to work. At this point, I accomplished what I wanted to do, so I'm just kind of farting around at this point. So hope everybody is good out there. Let's see. Let's try the App Store. And let's go with EG4. Whoa. Search for. Keeps bouncing back to EG4. Okay, so the EG4 monitor, this one I know is for the 6000. So that's for the EX. I'm assuming this is for the the EX. I'm assuming this is the only one that I don't have. I don't think it's the same as the EX. I mean, I guess it could be, but I know it's not. Oh, look at that one. EG4 Connect. Damn, I haven't seen that one. Let's just. All right, so we got this one here. GVA. Oh, okay, those are. EO4. I wonder if that's a. I have no idea which one's what. If I'm even got the right app here. I'm kind of surprised at how lacking. There's nothing in the manual about it. I wonder if this was an add-on after the fact. If I remember correctly, there's like a wire you have to connect to get this thing to work. So, okay. Closing all my apps here. I'm pretty sure this is the right app. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure it's not the right app. I don't know. But, you know, I don't even have the cable for it. So this cable obviously connects either here or to one of these ports down here. There's a couple of them down here too. There's an RS485 port down here. Oh, you know what? I did have a couple of other cables that I had earlier. Maybe that's what's going on here. Oh, look at that. When in doubt. Yeah, the cable's right here. I'm just not all here today. All right. So it's got a label on it, but it doesn't say anything. So what does this connect to? Does this connect down here to the RS-485? Or does it connect up here? And I'm pretty sure these are inverter communications. So I would assume that it connects to the RS-485, but wouldn't that be where the battery would connect? All right, so I got this. Now we need to know let's just go hunt it down. Where does the monitor connect to the EG4 3000 EHV-48 inverter? The Wi-Fi dongle for monitoring the EV inverter connects via the RS-232 port, which is an RJ45 located on the bottom of the unit. All right, that was the one I was wanting to plug it into, but I didn't want to take a chance on that. RS-230. Oh, there's a second port down here. I didn't even see it. All right. So that said, the 4 lights that are on this thing are power, communication, network, and server, or SVR. I'm assuming it's server. So, with that said, the battery does use the RS-485 that's on the bottom. That's what I thought. Creates a Wi-Fi SID and allows the user to connect, configure the EG4 app. Okay, so let's go to the Wi-Fi settings here. And we are going to I bet that looks like that's it. Q00 blah blah blah. Oh, it is Q0045. Yep, that's it. All right, password. I can't see the writing on that clearly. See the password anywhere. And I'm just looking up the password here, see if I can. Okay, it says typically it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go. Well, look at that. It connected. All right. Says I have no internet access, which would be right. All right, so now let's see if we can. I'm looking up what app I need for the iPhone. I remember helping someone up north configure this, and they had a special app. It's called the EG4 Monitor. Okay, which is different from. Well, I think it's different from. Oh, it says it's not different. Okay. Local Connect, Wi-Fi. Oh, Dongle Connect Wi-Fi. Ah, that's different. I really don't think this is the right one, though. I kind of remember this being a problem before. So, other apps like EG4 Connect, EG4EX, and EG4 Monitor are the primary choice for standard monitoring. All right, so let's see if we can figure out how to register. I got to figure out how to get. Whoa, sorry guys. I got to figure out how to get this on the Wi-Fi so that we can do anything. Because without that first, so that means that the app, I have to get the app to work in order to configure it to have Wi-Fi, in order to allow us to connect to the internet. Then I can't even configure their automated. I can't configure their automated system this way either. So let's take a trip back here. Let's just see if we can go figure out what the app needs to be. So we have, I said earlier I was going to forget about that Bitminer. I just looked over to make sure it was running because I have not looked at it since then, but it is running. That's good news. And we did find a block since then. Hey, nice. So, that's the share screen there. Yeah, so there we are. We're up to 14 blocks. So we did find one here. Brings me up to 3809 in Digibyte. Now, I was running Digibyte because the hash rate had gotten so difficult on the other one. But I'm going to switch back to Quai, I think, tomorrow. But today, I don't think we have a whole lot more to run. We're at 50. Well, we're still at 59%. I mean, we still have some PV coming in. Wow, look at that. It did pop out there for a little while. Wow. The sun came out for a moment. I wish it would come back out. It was just for a brief moment, though. Look at that. Just little hiccup there. And that was the end of it. Oh well. It's starting to get cold out there now, but ain't nothing we can do about that. All right, so let's go look for. I need to find the. Don't I remember this being goofy about which app it was. That's all I can remember about it though. I need to figure out who that was I was talking with, is what I need to do. Oh, whoa, whoa. Trying to see if he told me which version of the app it ended up being. So I'm pretty sure he did. Wow, I just felt some cold air. Some very, very cold air blow through. That stinks. Gonna get ugly out there. And I got the bit miner running and it's still cold. That's not good. I don't like cold weather. Let me see. Where in the world did they go? Okay, here's where he's getting his batteries out. Well, damn it. I don't see the app. All right, that's very frustrating. Let's try. Let's try, I'm going to try going out to the EG4 website here. Let me just show you, let you guys actually come with me here. And get the screen to work again. Oops, wrong one. Here we go. All right, so let's go to EG4. That's what I'm looking for. So I already have an account here. All right, so here is the inverter running here. So can I just add? I don't know. Don't have any in it now. Guessing here. This needs a serial number and a dongle pin, but these don't have dongle pins. That's what's weird. All right, let's try this another way. Plug in the Wi-Fi dongle, connect your phone to the dongle's local Wi-Fi network, typically named blah, 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 and use the Smart ESS app. There we go. That's much better. It should not be this hard. Yeah, but see, this is the problem. Here we are again talking about the 6000. They are not the same. I'm going to try it anyway. I don't know if this is going to help or not. We're going to give it a shot either way. I'm going to install this app on my phone, and then I'm going to do this ESS app here. I have no idea if it's the right thing or not. It talks like it is, but the link down here below here is all talking about the 6000 XP, which is a completely different thing. They don't connect the same. They don't use the same app. But if it allows me to configure the network, then maybe I'll get lucky here. If that doesn't work, I'm going to have to try a couple of these other ones here to see if. Really? Why are you all asking me for freaking passwords? Okay, I'm done with this today. I've had enough. I'm frustrated, and I don't think there's any reason to keep pushing it like this. Just utter frustration is all it's going to cause me. And it's getting cold, and I don't want to deal with the cold. So I'm going to go inside where it's warm, and I'm going to watch a good old-fashioned movie, probably something with a bunch of aliens where a lot of people die, end of world, apocalyptic, zombies, something like that. I don't know. I don't know if I've got even anyone still watching, because I have been just ultimately boring. But you guys are awesome. I do want to say thank you to everyone for all of the 18,000. How many subscribers is it these days? Oh my goodness, it's a lot. You guys are awesome. Let's just take a look real quick. 18,804 subscribers. Thank you so much, guys. Really, I appreciate it. You're all wonderful. We just continue to grow at an astonishing rate, and I truly do enjoy doing this and everything that comes with it. And hopefully you guys get something from it. Today wasn't particularly rewarding, but we got it commissioned. Now we just need to get it completely up and running, clean up a few things, but at least having it turned on is a good sign. And that's where we'll start. And that's what we're going to claim anyway, one way or another. I don't know if how many of you guys are online right now, but I'm going to end it for the day. Don't know how long we've been going. How long has it been going here? Let's see. Oh, wow, a long time. I thought it was a short live stream. Let's see. We've been going for I have no idea. Why can't I see how long we've been going? It's just crazy. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for all of your wonderful likes, comments, and all of that kind of stuff. Hopefully we've got a lot of cool content coming for you here in the next couple months as we zoom in on the solar shed. I don't know if any of you guys caught that, but we have a lot of, let's see if I can get it to run it again. My phone was working, but I told it to disconnect, so I may have lost the connection. Let's see if I can get it to reconnect real quick. It's not wanting to, but let me just try this. Okay. And anyway, doesn't make any difference. We're out of here anyway. The whole thing was I wanted to show you guys the panels out in the yard, but they're not getting any sun today anyway, so we'll do that another day. Talk to you later. Have a great day. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.